This is the Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall.
Let's go nuts! It's Jimmy Nuts! Right out of the door!
With your hosts, Mark Martinez.
Because I'm the Mark and I'm awesome!
The Guru.
Today I'm going to break it down for all you simpleton sweat hogs listening out there in Can Crusher Nation. I don't mean to come out here week after week and toot my own horn, but toot.
And the English Professor.
It is I, the English professor from the County of Kings, speaking the English of the Queen.
Hey, this is former WWE superstar Duke, the Dumpster Drosy, and you are listening to the Can Crushers Podcast.
And welcome back to Can Crushers. We took a little bit of time off, and we'll get to that. Before I welcome my co-host of the show, I have a little of a PSA that's going to piss some people off. Some people to my right, some people on the computer screen, and some people across the board. But I was raised on better views than this, so here we go. Can Crushers will no longer be part of the Cornette Club. Anything like that. We are not going to be publicizing anything that he says. He is gone from the WWF. We're not talking about him. It is just shit that I don't want on the show. Jim Cornette is never going to work with a mud show podcast like we have, only having 5,000 listeners compared to his many. But people that might, Miro, Penelope Ford might come on the show. People like that. Chad's laughing. This is sincere, Chad. Any more Cornette stuff, any of his stuff brought up on the show will be edited out. I can't handle it anymore. He's a genius for the wrestling back in the day. He's just vulgar. I can't stand it anymore. I have unfollowed him. He's done. So that's my PSA. I just cannot have his shit part of this show to bring it up and talk about it anymore. So, as you sit here, you look at me kind of angrily.
I'm kind of wondering what is...
I do not want any of the... If you can't say Kenny Omega, don't bring up his name. I do not want anything linked to Cornette anymore. And it is because I want to work with. You know, Can Crushers is my baby. You guys have always said that. If I get the chance to talk to anybody from AEW, I want to. If they hear us kind of saying the same thing that he is, that's a chance that I might not be able to take that to work with them.
And that's not that we can't critique them. That's not saying we can't critique them, because I've got some critiques, but go ahead.
Right. We're going to critique them. I just don't want what he has in his show. I want to be able to talk about and have our realizations, or however I'm going to put it now, on our show without taking any of that from him. It has just put me over the edge recently. If he doesn't like AEW, don't watch it anymore. He has not said anything good about it in a while. My wife watches Honey Boo Boo. I can't stand it. I walk out of the room when she watches it. Do I bring it up anymore? No. So, done. Done. I have the editing skills. It'll be taken out of the podcast, and that's it. Other than that, hello, English Professor and Chad. That's just one thing that I went off on this week. It's going to be a tremendous week of going off. Chad, give Chad his moments because he is pissed.
No, I see your point, because there is stuff coming out to where after the whole Rusev, Penelope Ford, Kip Sabian, Cornette thing or whatever, that AEW is saying they don't fucking be answering them back, blah, blah, blah. I think that's fine, but I'm going to say this, and it's not because I like Cornette. There was nothing that he he didn't call her a slut. They took him calling her Penelope Pit Stop.
All this is going to be edited out already.
Ah, come on.
No, I'm telling you.
Okay.
I might leave that little bit in for you, but you understand that's where I'm going.
I know. I get that, but I'm just saying that Penelope Pit Stop was cartoon character. But I understand where you're going
right
with it. But you can't take the Kenny Omega names from me.
I'm going to.
Oh, you suck. Okay, I'll make up fucking new ones then.
I sit here and edit. If we're gonna only publicize the podcast at 4:00 on Sundays after we get done recording it, and it takes me 2 hours to edit those out, I will. I just don't want that thing to be linked to us. If there's a chance, you know how much this is my passion. If there's a chance of me, hey, Britt and Wardlow were just on IWC last night. We talked to them. If they say, hey, Sonny Kiss or somebody like that can come on from AEW, but we have that stigmatism that we bring up Cornette all the time, and then maybe Sonny Kiss thinks that we're going to just bombard him with something. I don't want that. I want to talk to him. I want to talk to anybody in the wrestling business. You know how this passion of mine was. It started with indie stars. Help them get their voice out there. OVW's helped a lot. IWC, Imagine. We can go back into the histories of time on Can Crushers and the people that we've had on. That's what this show is about. It's not about people like James E. Cornette.
So you met stigma. By the way, in your tirade, there are about, a dozen words that you meant something else. But anyway, that's how worked up Mark is, guys. Look, we met him, and this is all I'll say. He is a genius. He taught us, the ideas behind his storylines. In a matter of 5 minutes, we were like, wow, this is how this guy's mind works. But what hurts is what he says to the fans. And I did a professor's pontification about this last year where I talked about that. He defended your right to watch ECW, WCW, even though they were the enemy, and WWE. And now to call the fans what he calls the fans, to call the workers what he calls the workers. I didn't hear that particular pit stop comment, but I didn't think of a cartoon character when I thought of it, to be honest with you. I thought of something really nasty. And it's just unnecessary. Is he working? Maybe he's working us. I don't know. But it crosses a line. It's just so toxic. It's so toxic and unnecessary. So, as to your point about taking off last week, some things came up. It didn't work out. And you brought this to my attention too. Here's what he's saying. Here's what's going on. Because I've disconnected. And I was like, man, that's not right. But when I looked at some of the product, not from this past week, but from the week before, boy, do I have some critiques. Not necessarily about AEW, but about WWE for sure. So do we want to go there? Do we want to start with that?
No, I want to know how you guys... Now I want to get into, now that I'm shaking. I'm legit angry over this yet. I was trying to, last night as I'm going to bed, I'm like, how am I going to, I'm like, no, I just have to shoot from the hip. That was my shoot. So I want to know how you guys' 2 weeks were, because I got to tell you, our Can Crusher Nation, why we were off last week. It's nothing to do with, you guys do not know this. You guys just knew I had a miserable weekend. And it's a great time.
I want to shoot one thing out to you guys. And, Mark, ultimately it's your show. And, I think Cornette has a right, just like everybody else, to say his things and stuff. But I understand where you're coming from about there's a larger audience and potential for things for this show than to eliminate, his shit. But I want to say something, and I'm not picking on either of you two individually, but we had a discussion a couple months ago. What's going too far in wrestling? you really didn't. You kind of played the middleman on
Always.
it. But John was like, there's nothing really that's off the limit in wrestling. And I said, Jerry Lawler's mom's death. Somebody's death. Well, it's wrestling. It's not off the limit. Why are we shifting? Is it a production thing, or is
Clearly.
it? Okay, because that's kind of like, I want to say, almost hypocritical to say that for storyline purposes, there's nothing off limits, but then to flip on this, it's kind of like,
It's clearly where we can go, and I don't want that tied to this. We never started that way, and I don't want to go that way.
And maybe that's a fair criticism, Chad.
It is.
It is. It is a fair criticism. The only thing I would say is he in the business? Is he in the business right now, or is he just a fan ranting and raving like we're fans ranting and raving?
He does, and you're right. He does have the right to say whatever he wants.
I mean, he's booked. He runs stuff off the business. Is his, and I'm going to say, we've all talked about, he is ignorant at times.
Right.
You know, when he said the shit about Becky Lynch, I was the first one, that's fucked up and everything. But is he any ignorant? And I'm going to bring this up, and y'all can roll your eyes, but I'm going to get to a point with it.
Okay.
You got pieces of trash that are ruining the wrestling business, like Kenny Omega, like the Young Bucks, who are doing the stupid shit that they're doing, wrestling 8-year-olds, wrestling blow-up sex dolls, everything like that. And they're doing it because they're in a position of power to do it, and nobody's going to fucking stop them. Is it really any different? Now, again, let me state, there is more doors to be opened by not having them on here.
Right.
But, and that's fine. I kind of thought it was going to end up coming to this point because he's had to find something else to focus on since Trump's out of office.
Exactly.
I just think this is a very fine line that we're going on as to who we're going to talk about, use references of, and stuff like that. This is a very, very fine line. We'll talk about Joey Ryan. He has a dick flip.
No, we don't.
But we've read. Come on.
We have.
We have. I'm just saying.
Right.
All his lawsuits have been thrown out. Oh, I don't want to be in the business, is what his latest thing is. We've talked about the different wrestlers doing the crimes or committing whatever.
Yeah, but that's news.
We're getting on the point of almost censorship in weighing what's good and what's bad for the program. It's a fine line. That is my worry of what's good for do we really care what some people think? Okay, maybe they don't like Cornette. It's just a fine line. It's bordering on censorship.
Here's what I think the answer to that may be, Chad. It's one thing to expose the business, which is out in the open. It's exposed. It walked through the front door buck ass naked. It's exposed. Versus ruining someone. A worker is a commodity. Roddy Piper said he was his own commodity, right? He is something that he sells. A performer, an actor, a musician, a wrestler, they're a commodity. This is, aside from the slut jokes and shaming and everything else, this is akin to 10 or so years ago, all the shoots you heard, which is why I turned them off after a while. You have Ric Flair saying, watch where Bret Hart puts his hand here, and you can see how fake that is. And Bret says, well, watch Ric Flair, his matches are the same, and watch him turn here. Why are you doing that? You're ruining the business. You're ruining each other's commodities, even though you're not in the ring anymore. Then they get over their pissy fit, and now they're friends again. Well, guess what? You ruined it. It's too late. When this guy takes a microphone every week and says he missed a kick and she missed a punch, and why do you want to ruin it? Why are you such a ruiner? That's my biggest issue. Maybe, don't want to say this, maybe more so than the name calling and what he calls fans and everything. It's the ruining. Just then don't watch it. If you hate it that much, just don't ruin it for everybody else. But I will stand by the attacking on the fans. Look, when he had a microphone, when he had a tennis racket, he made fun of people anyway. We met him. He was cool to us. In the ring, he made fun of us. I don't know if this is a work, and maybe I'm just being duped. We're all being duped, but this looks pretty real. You know, the guy's got some serious anger.
But he's no different with criticism than anybody else. You know, whether it's any wrestling site on there. What the fuck is Keller's name?
Mitch.
The one on any PW Torch, WrestleZone, anybody who throws in comments, anybody who talks, you know, okay, the Big Show going to AEW and saying why didn't you want to sign a Legends contract? Oh, Vince McMahon's an asshole. We still watch WWE, and Vince was doggy style and Trish Stratus while his son-in-law was fucking a corpse. Okay, so everybody's going to criticize. Is he more ignorant than others? Yeah, I'll fucking give you that. But at the same token, he's just more outspoken and doesn't give a fuck than others.
Well,
he's no different than Jim Ross.
Put a bow tie on all of this. It is for the podcast. And we're going to leave it at that. Boom. Said and done. It's for the podcast. I don't want to say it like this. If you don't like it, you can turn us too. That's just the way it's going to be. There it is. All right. So,
do you want to hear about my week quick?
Yeah, I do. I do. That's why, you know, that went longer than I thought. But
I watched. I love Everybody Hates Chris. I've been watching that on Peacock. We'll talk about Peacock later, I'm sure. But there was one episode where his mother starts doing a countdown, and that's when Chris knows he's going to get his ass whipped. And every countdown is something different, 10, 9, 8. And then when she got to 3, it was the Junkyard Dog running a shoulder block into the Masked Superstar's midsection while he was tied up in the ropes, you know, like Andre the Giant tied in the ropes. And I don't know why that's 3, if he gave him 3 shoulder blocks or whatever, but I thought that was a cool wrestling reference. I couldn't tell if it was early 80s. I couldn't tell if it was like a WWF ring or like a, you know, maybe something out of Louisiana, because it was just so brief. But I thought that was cool that Everybody Hates Chris had a little wrestling segment in there.
That was all you did in 2 weeks.
I also got a submission with the Kimura, and when the guy turned into me, I put my leg behind his head, my knee, just like I've been telling Kushida to do for weeks. The guy never listens to me. So Kushida, if you're listening, the knee behind the neck, they can't go anywhere. At least nothing I know of.
That's it.
Yeah, those 2 things.
You're busy 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Busy to Chad. You're a little bit less red. You have a lot on your docket that you just told me prior.
Got a new job, working at a outdoor shop basically. Got a new car this week, and got a new gun this week.
Wow!
I had to get the job to support my habit.
Your gun habits.
No, I'm like Herb Abrams, you know, cocaine and hookers. I had to get a job for that.
Nice.
But yeah.
So is the guns the cocaine, or is the hookers the cocaine?
Oh, they're in addition to the guns.
Oh.
Like I said, I'm Herb Abrams. You're going to find me somewhere down the road rolled up in KY jelly and cocaine, just like he went out.
On 219.
On 219. Anyway, no, but yeah, just decided to get it with the little guy being in school and just getting to me. Cabin fever is getting to me too much. Found a job. It'll get me out 5-6 days a week. Put some extra cash in my hand.
You could be playing Retro Mania. Oh, no.
Yeah, I could be playing that.
But you can't play Retro
Could have been
Mania.
playing it a fucking year ago.
All right, so the long-awaited why we were off last week. So I get home on Friday, take a shower. We got this amazing shower from TikTok. The water pressure is so much better. It's got the little beads in it. English professor, I'm sure your wife has seen it because she's on TikTok. It was just amazing. Awesome. Cool. Saturday, everything in my bathroom explodes. Literally just explodes. The shower's off the wall. Water is pissing out of the shower. So I turned the water off. All right, cool. Trying to fix the shower, and now the nozzle on the tub breaks. And, sometimes the water isn't all the way off. It wasn't all the way off. We had a river in our bathroom that made its way to our kitchen via the roof. So if you go into the kitchen right now, guys, John, it would be hell if you could go to my kitchen right now, but you will see that now we have to do some roof working in our kitchen because the water has just trickled down the whole way.
This wasn't because of bodies being slammed in the shower or up on the sink? Okay.
No.
Because Ethan's told me about some of the shit.
Right. No, it was none of that. It was, Cal was in there completely by herself, and shit just went awry. She didn't know how to turn the water off, apparently, and it was all over the place. You guys see how sometimes I just snap and become... John, you actually brought it up in your best man speech. We were in the...
Yes, I did.
We were in our dressing room getting our wrestling attire and everything on, and everybody's just talking, and they're getting ready to announce something. And Callie, I don't know what she was telling me that, Aunt Josephine or Aunt Joanne or this one or that one or somebody is out there. And I'm like, will you just shut up? We're getting ready to do... Well, that happened with the water as well. And it set the whole family off because I don't have a filter sometimes. And then we started, you're right. And then we started a little bit of a quarrel here at the household. And by the time this water leak is finally shut off, it's well past the time of going someplace to get the fixins that I need to get. So I can't take a shower. Sunday we had things to do. So, couldn't get there Sunday. So none of us showered after, Ethan and I didn't shower Saturday or Sunday. I didn't shower until after I got home work Monday, so I was smelling like the back of a garbage truck, for sure. So it took a while for me to fix this. I did fix it by myself, and it's not fixed, up to my dad or my grandfather's standards, but it's done. It's fixed, it's workable right now. I was just up to my limits of like, I had to take a moment. You guys know that...
It's understandable.
Because I thought I was going to fix it. I did. And it was unfixable. So I told these guys this, that, and the other thing. And then there was a lot of, Mark, just, you're making too much noise breathing. Just, I need for a minute. And people weren't allowed breathing in the house. And I was that bastard last weekend. I don't know. Was it a full moon last weekend or something?
No.
No. That's me. I don't know.
I didn't turn into a werewolf. But, yeah, I don't know. So, that's why we took the week off. Bad W, which we'll do in our second segment, had their pay-per-view. A lot went on there. What we're doing for this show is all WWE episodes are going to be taking place right now. And then we'll do our Fastlane predictions here in the first segment. Part 2 will be AEW. 3, we'll touch on NXT, love them, and then a lot of brief news. We had some passings, we had some surgeries, some dismissals, and then NWA.
Some signings.
What?
Some signings.
Some dismissals. Oh, yeah, some signings as well.
Signings coming out of last night.
Yeah, we posted that. So, I don't know. A long beginning. A little bit of a heated beginning. We're bringing it back down. We'll see where we go. Everything will be fine. The dogs are part of the show this week, as my son only went to bed, I think, at like 2 o'clock this morning. So we could drive a train through his room. He's not going to hear us. The wife's at work. We have a long day of wrestling, boys, so let's get at it.
I bet you if we got that fucking cowbell, we could wake him up.
I don't want to pissy Ethan all day. I really don't. Did get an amazing tattoo, though.
It is pretty sweet.
I'm pumped about that. Finally got my mother's tribute tattoo. Once it gets this goopy stuff off, I'll actually show everybody online. But Ink Excess in DuBois, Pennsylvania. Lauren is amazing. I've already booked again to get my wrestling sports sleeve started and taken care of. So that's pretty pumped about that. I sent that out on Twitter to wrestlers. Anybody that's got a really cool logo and they want to see if they're going to make the cut to be on my wrestling sleeve, send it in to cancrusher69@gmail.com. I've got 2 of them already, and I'll give them a shout out. Both of them have been on the show. So Daredevil Dave Dahl, Can Crusher alum, sent his logo in. We'll have to have a discussion about that one. And our real close friends, The Runway, Calvin and Tyler, sent their thing in so their logo, I guess you want to call it.
Just as long as it wasn't Chris LaRusso and Fat Bastard Jock Sampson, in their
Jock Sampson would take up my whole forearm. So
I didn't say. I mean, maybe you could put his left tit on there, and it would only cover half of it.
Right. But, of course, I'm going to have my favorites. The Macho Man's going to be on there. The little Bailey character, when she's good, was going to be on there. Some Dusty stuff, some Owen stuff. Like, that's going to be on there. But I love my independent wrestling, and I love to support them. And I know people are like, but what if, Calvin isn't Calvin? It doesn't matter. It's what it means to me. And that's why a tattoo...
It's like fucking people who say... I don't know, you like Barry Sanders or... John, who's your favorite Yankees player?
Don Mattingly.
All time, yeah, Don Mattingly.
Okay,
yeah.
That's like saying, oh, you're wearing his number. Well, he doesn't have that number anymore, or he doesn't play anymore, or he doesn't have that jersey anymore. It's the same fucking thing. You're still... Oh, you only can like current guys?
No.
So somebody changes their name from... I don't know.
Chad Johnson to Chad Ochocinco?
Yeah, there you go.
Crusher Khrushchev to Repo Man.
7 to Dustin Rhodes.
All right, WWEF time, or whatever the hell we're going to call it. All right, not running through shows as we normally do. So bring something to the table, and we'll about it. And then as we wrap up the WWF, we'll do our Fastlane predictions, which... Who wants... John, actually, let him go, because I know he's got a long-winded... Look, he's already rubbing himself.
My hands together, just to be clear. They can't see us, so let's just be clear what I'm rubbing.
And throwing out... He's fucking unraveling, like parchment back in the fucking Stone Ages.
At least he's not eating. Go ahead.
Yet.
Okay, yeah. So, all of us talked over the course of the week, and we talked about positivity and try to have a positive flow. So, Mark, the last few weeks you've asked me, you've asked Chad, you get to SmackDown and you say, you didn't watch it, did you? And both of us shake our heads. We probably haven't watched it in weeks, maybe months, especially after the pay-per-view where you have these guys go in this awesome Elimination Chamber match, and then you have Roman Reigns come out and wrestle 90 seconds. That's bullshit. I won't even get into that. So I can't turn on SmackDown. Raw, for every step forward they take 3 steps back. I love Bobby Lashley. I like the program between Sheamus and Drew McIntyre. They're having a series of matches, whether it's the Gauntlet or the Elimination Chamber. they have their matches and they have great chemistry, and now they're going to settle it in a no DQ match. And it ends with the two of them running head to head with steps, and they're out. They're out cold, and the ref has to stop it. Are you kidding me? I'm not trying to sound like an old man. If you'd have put that match somewhere in our region in the Northeast, all the way through the Mid-Atlantic, back in the days, that would have gotten a bullshit chant and a possible riot. It's like they were two kids in sumo suits running at each other, and they got hurt, and the mom said, okay, now you kids can't play anymore. I cannot believe a no DQ match ended like that. Go ahead. Then I have one other thing to add.
Last week, did you guys notice across the board it was steps week? I wanted to say it was across the board. NXT used them in their show, and I'm saying the week that we weren't on. NXT used them in their show a couple times. AEW used them a million times, and then the WWE in that match used them. And I noticed it Monday. I'm like, okay, whatever, fine. I thought it was bullshit as well. But then you just see steps and more steps. And it was like, okay, who can use the steps the most this week? AEW won. Because every match somebody either tiptoed on them or threw them at somebody or ate beef jerky off them or something. The steps were in play the whole week. Was it because we were trying to get new sponsorship from the step company or what?
The other thing I want to mention, Shane McMahon is putting himself back on TV a lot. And I don't know what happened, if someone forgot a line, if someone missed an entrance, if someone didn't cue music. It seemed like 20 minutes. It probably was only 8 or 9 or 10. But it was just Shane like, does this microphone work? Braun, I wouldn't call you stupid. Maybe I would. No, I wouldn't. Would I? Would I? Do you think I would? No, I would. I didn't know what the hell was happening. And Braun didn't look like he knew what was happening. Mercifully, it ended. I don't know if the boos were real, if people had it, or that was pumped in to give Shane heat. I don't know what was happening in that endless promo that eventually ended with Braun Strowman driving away or running after a truck, I guess, but Shane was still somewhere else. So dumb. And so I say to myself, this is an insult to our intelligence. I cannot watch this. So I didn't tune in the following week. I can't. I heard he dumped goop on his head or something. Like, you can't do that on television?
I have that too, yeah.
That's it. That was it for me.
Okay. I've been waiting to fucking go off on this.
Good. So this isn't a positive show this week.
We're gonna
half an hour in.
We're gonna get positive. Okay. You know, I was thinking, and Mark and I talked about it. John, you just said the same fucking thing. What the fuck? If this was a 9-minute thing, it was 18 minutes too fucking long. I was wondering, I'm like watching this and scratching my fucking head because it's giving me a headache trying to figure out what the fuck's going on. And then it just hit me. And John, I'm going to thank you for what you said. It just hit me. This is Shane trying to act like Stephanie, trying to act like they're better than everybody, emasculating the superstars, trying to act like they're fucking smart, like it's something somebody wants to see. It's like, maybe I am, maybe I'm not. Who the fuck cares? Who wants to see Braun Strowman, who Vince McMahon hates damn near about as much as he hates CM Punk, right? Who the fuck wants to see Shane and Braun Strowman? Oh, we get that this week, and then we're going to get it again at fucking WrestleMania.
All right, there's a great thing to stop on that right there for a second. Do we really get it tonight? I don't think we get it again tonight. Because why? Twofold. Because I'm going to answer my own question. Why are they putting Shane McMahon on Fastlane? One, because it's now on Peacock. McMahon's going to be on the show. For people that don't know anything, you might get some viewership because it's on Peacock. It's extra. Let's see how that runs tonight in the first place, because God forbid this doesn't pull off right because they don't have their algorithm right or anything like that. I'm only watching it part way on Peacock before I have to go to bed tonight. So if it shits the bed at some point on Peacock, that's going to put a lot of people down, and they have 3 weeks to get their business right, because only WrestleMania is going to be on Peacock or $999 buying it from your cable company. 2, this isn't over. This is just going to be a...
They had a match this week already.
It did happen. That was where the whole slime
But
was.
I don't think it's going to be... I didn't know it was supposed to be on Fastlane, but they're not... They're gonna have something stupid. Maybe Braun's going to get
jumped.
The ha-ha, laugh, stupid shit over on Shane. They're not gonna put him in. It's gonna be some stupid little, whatever the fucking slime show is.
You can't do that on television. It's an 80s show from
Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
Okay, they're gonna do something stupid like that, and then Shane's gonna want Braun in a, flaming Hell in a Cell with flamethrowers fucking match or something at WrestleMania.
Yeah, it's going to be at WrestleMania.
And the referee's going to be in a fucking flame retardant suit for fucking sparklers.
Nice.
Here's what is not believable about that. Like, I could watch Braun Strowman against, I don't know, Daniel Bryan, right? Which there's a great size discrepancy there, but I think they could put on an entertaining match because Daniel Bryan is really talented. And he's a superstar, right? He's a legitimate superstar that you can believe he can fight a bigger guy. Shane is like, if I came out in my Adidas sweatpants,
your wrestling shirt,
my collar and elbow wrestling shirt, and said, well, I go to the gym a couple of times a week. I can fight this guy. Are you kidding me? There's nothing believable about Shane McMahon fighting this guy. He would destroy him. I don't care what Shane does in his free time.
And this whole feud has been built on promos, which wasn't Braun recently sent back to the PC to learn how to talk again.
Yeah.
Braun's not, we've always said Braun has not been the best talker. So
he should have never been brought out into that role. Not necessarily, he didn't have to stay in a group like the Wyatt family, where I think he thrived and did his best work. But he never should have been brought out into the role without a mouthpiece.
Which is why
he's just one of those guys. It's like Roman Reigns. I seen a meme the other day. Roman Reigns from 2015. Ooh, everybody's fucking booing him. I love the fans. And now he acts like he doesn't give a shit. He's a bastard, and he's being cheered.
Yeah.
They're having to pipe in the boos. He's being cheered. Braun Strowman doesn't have that. He needs a voice. Granted, very limited people out there to be his voice, but whose fucking fault? I wouldn't. No. Him, no. Because he gets his ass kicked way too much. He's not in favor with any...
He's not in favor backstage.
Oh yeah, there's a segment. I'll get into that with my girl getting fired from WWE later.
Well, we're in it. Might as well.
Fuck Charlie Caruso.
I didn't know that.
Getting fired from fucking taken off air and her shit removed from WWE.
What the hell did she
and
do?
Everything. She was late for fucking interviews with Randy Orton and I can't remember, who the other guy. Late for 5 fucking minutes late for an interview. And Vince McMahon, fuck, yank her off, get her off. She's done.
Well, she's linked with ESPN too, and don't forget this. ESPN 2-3 months ago said we're done. They cut it with
I get that,
and now they're linked with what is Peacock, NBC?
Yeah. But if you're gonna can somebody,
it's Vince.
If you're gonna can somebody, don't. And I understand Vince he's so fucking far out in left field, he's in right field. I understand, okay, if you want to be, who has the bigger dick, I'm going to fire her. Make up something that doesn't make you look like a total douchebag, like a piece of shit. You're not a heel in wrestling, Vince. It's beyond that. Make up or do something else. Let her go. Just say her contract's been terminated and let it go. Don't put, she was late for interviews.
You do a good Vince too, by the way.
I hate that guy. But she's fired. She's gonna, under her real name at WWE, and I'm glad. She'll be fine.
They've removed some of her stuff too.
They've removed her profile and stuff like that, putting it under.
I see. I thought they edited her out of
no.
Netflix stuff. Okay. That's
not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah.
But he's doing that because she's doing those things. He, he's so fucking far out of touch with everything.
Yeah, he is.
He wants to control the wrestling business, but in wanting to control the wrestling business, he's destroyed it.
Okay, so let me throw this at you guys since we're talking about WWE. You both are saying you're not completely, but you're just sick of it. John, you took a week off, or you might be taking more off. Chad, you're sick of it as well. Is this where you guys will say, all right, Mark, you bring up the topic. If we know about it, we'll talk about it. Because if you guys don't want to cover WWE anymore, it's fine on your aspects. If you guys want to take a month or two off and say, let's just see what's going on, I can run through WWE because, I get angry at it as well. And this is real shoot on air stuff, guys, because I didn't talk to him about this. That's fine because that I'm going to watch the product. Yes, I get annoyed with it. It's in my blood. I can't, as much as I say, man, I really hate watching, I don't know, Bad Bunny beating up The Miz, and Chad just already tapped the table because he's mad about it. It's wrestling. I'm going to watch it.
It's going to be on my TV. I'm not going to pay attention to...
Not as much.
Of it, but I'm going to... Okay, even though I knew the result of what was going to happen between Jey Uso and Edge, or AJ's challenging for this title, or somebody's making their debut, it's going to be spots. That's what I do. I think that would be a good point, a good way to cover it.
Right. That's
Give the majority of our time otherwise, but hit spots. Holy shit! This was a great match between two undercard guys, or
we don't have to talk about R-Truth being Stone Cold.
Yeah, or
John was like, "What?" He clearly. Yeah, he was Stone Cold all week.
It's 90% of it every week is horrible. When they come out of a pay-per-view, it's just like they're, sitting with their thumbs up their ass, twiddling their fingers on what to do. They screw up, going into a pay-per-view. Everything's predictable. They could make whatever matches they want. Everything is too predictable, and they don't go from it.
That's
ditto. Yeah, if I get home and my son's watching it and it's in the background, but I can't make an effort to tune in on Monday nights. And I'll say it again. I love Bobby Lashley. I think he's awesome. Unfortunately, it's not enough to get me to sit through Shane and Braun to get to Bobby Lashley.
And isn't it sad because you guys know I like Drew McIntyre. I've said that he kind of got screwed with getting a title when he did with no audiences. He's gone through that shit. Bobby Lashley, so much more deserving, and he's getting the same fucking treatment. The exact same.
And I want to say, and this is again me being PC, as Chad said earlier, it's in the times that we're at right now. And I don't want to say you can't blame just Vince. You can't blame just the pandemic. It's just, this is the hand that we're dealt right now, and we have to kind of see where it goes. But in the same aspect, this is the hand that Vince has dealt, and with nobody being there, I think we can get more surprises or more, like, I really want to see Daniel Bryan win tonight and throw him and Edge in the main event at WrestleMania. I think there'd be more buzz on that. But Roman's the face of the company. As much as everybody is like, oh, I hate Roman now. Guys, he's still the face of the company. Right? I mean, as much
He is, and he will be for a while. I mean, he's just the guy that you would look to. The problem with Vince, and I'll throw this, see what you guys' opinion is. Now he has, with no fans being in there, now all he has is the guaranteed money from Fox, from USA, from the venue where they're holding the pay-per-views. That's all he has. Not to be rude, but if he didn't give a shit before when the fans and that were involved, what he was putting out there, do you think he's going to give a shit now? Do you think he's going to pay $10 million to bring in a Floyd Mayweather Jr. for a match at fucking WrestleMania when all he's making is what USA and the other networks are paying him? No, he's not. And it's going to... Remember I said when they first went on Fox, I said, Vince is giving them, meeting their demands. He's not giving them the greatest product because he has a 1 or 2 year deal.
Yep.
And he's being told what he has to give them. I thought he was probably, one step shy of tanking the fucking show. If you don't think he's fucking doing that now, you're crazy.
Side note, and this is, we can do the predictions then real quick. I actually love the whole Apollo Crews African descendant thing right now. I love it. Chad's laughing. He was as dry as this piece of paper.
Yeah.
As a good guy. At least he's got some heat on him of some sort. And I'm a big fan of green and white. I don't know why. Like, I should have been a Michigan State fan.
But his guards make him look like a midget.
I know.
That's what's... That's one part. And it's funny. And somebody put out, and I still can't get the picture. They said, had Apollo Crews standing there with his guards or whatever on the top part and on the bottom. They said, well, somebody went to see Coming to America too.
I saw that one. By the way,
I was like,
did either of you watch that yet?
No, it's on Amazon. I have it saved. I have to watch it.
Okay. I love the first one.
Yeah, me too.
All right. Anything else you want to talk about WWE before we get to the predictions?
Yeah, let's do predictions.
Because I know you're both going to watch it tonight, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, I will. I subscribe to the network. Why the hell not? But
well, it's not on the network.
It is. No, it's still on the network tonight.
This is the last one.
Oh, it is?
Yep. It's on both of them simultaneously. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
This is the last one on the network, and it's on the...
Okay, how much is Peacock? I'm just going to throw
$9.99.
$9.99.
Well, you can get it for $4.99, and you're going to get ads. I don't know how they'll put ads in during a pay-per-view, but if you're watching, like, The Young Rock or The Office or Yellowstone, it's just going to break off in an ad at any random time.
Okay.
Yeah. If you're watching it at $9.99, you're not going to get those. So, essentially, I'm just telling everybody, and I'm not working for Peacock, NBC.
No, I honestly don't know.
No, but we've all paid $9.99 a month for the WWE Network. Just take that, if you're figuring out your money, take that $9.99 that you have written in your checkbook that says WWE for a month, scratch out WWE and put Peacock. No money is legit leaving your hands extra. Except John and I have paid for both of them for probably the last 2 months.
I've done the free subscription. I get plenty of ads, but I don't care. I've been doing the free subscription for now, and now eventually, yeah, I'll do the $9.99 one so that I can get the WWE Network on there.
Yeah. So it's worth it for the show. Chad, you would love Yellowstone too. I know you would.
A lot of people have told me that, and
we haven't brought up my dad yet. So let's bring him up real quick before we do the prediction.
Hey, he doesn't have any snow in his driveway, people. He's able to get out.
I showed him Peacock, and I started watching Yellowstone. I was on, I don't know, episode 3 or whatever. John, I think you would like it too. So, Dad's a very busy man. And, 2 days later, he's like, is there another season of this coming out? And I'm like, I would think. He's like, because if it ends like this, I'm pissed at you. Why? I didn't like the way it ended. I'm like, Dad, I think season 3 just came out a month ago. Well, when season 4 come out, he thinks a season should come out every month. I'm like, Dad, probably in a year. Oh, man, I'm going to forget what happens in a year. Rewatch it. If it took you 3 days to watch 3 seasons, rewatch it the day before season 4 comes out. So, yeah, that's my dad shot. All right. Fast lane predictions. Here we go. From the bottom to the top. Riddle defends against Ali. Mustafa Ali. Mustafa Ali.
Isn't this a match that's not happening because of Ali's injury?
Really? Did they just put that out?
Yeah, I thought this was a match that wasn't happening because of his injury. No confirmation, but let's call the prediction. But yeah, he tore.
Heck.
No,
what are you pointing to?
The shoulder?
Something in his shoulder, something like that, early this week. But look,
I don't think Riddle was going to lose it either way.
No.
Yeah, me neither. Also, Mark turned Canadian there for a second because he said Riddle is going against.
Against? We've talked about Braun and Shane. It's a carryover match. We don't have to go any farther.
There's not going to be a decision.
No. Randy versus Alexa Bliss. And twofold. Does Bray come back tonight?
Yes, he does. And I think she wins. Somehow. Kicking the nuts or something happens. He sees the devil. He sees something. Gets scared. I think she wins somehow. Even though he'll probably bump her all over the ring and beat the tar out of her, I think she wins.
It's about long lines what I was thinking. She's going to do something to him. Bray's going to do something to him.
So we're very predictable so far.
Oh, wow.
Drew versus Sheamus. No holds barred match. I heard it was actually a last man standing match. So that it has changed 3 times since yesterday what this match is going to be. Supposedly whoever wins does get the shot at WrestleMania. They're going to add that caveat into it. But it's already been announced that it's going to be Drew. So Drew's winning, guys?
Yeah.
They trip over their own 2 feet and bonk heads, and they're both down for the 10 count. Drew
but
wins.
not with the steps.
Not with the steps.
Not with the steps this time, no.
What do we get? Kendo sticks tonight?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Kendo sticks, and I'm going to go out there. I'm going to make a Soup Geist type prediction here. The kitchen sink. The fucking kitchen sink.
Oh, you don't mean the real... You just meant everything.
No. I mean a fucking kitchen sink. They're going to pull a kitchen sink out from underneath the ring.
I hope so.
If I do that, I get to take over Can Crushers for a week.
Good. Learn how to edit, because that's the worst part. Big E against Apollo Crews for the IC title.
I know they're pushing Apollo Crews now, but I can't see him leaving with the belt.
I'm going the exact opposite way. They're pushing him. He's had a couple of shots as a good guy. They've planted the seeds. I think they have him win the title.
And I'm going to go down the middle, and and say this is another carryover match for WrestleMania because it just started. They have to fill 2 nights. We have 3 matches announced for WrestleMania so far. They have to fill 2 nights with, 6 matches, you think, apiece? That's 8.
At least. I would say 7 or 8 per night. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so we're looking at a minimum of 14 matches. Well, there's going to be so much carryover. There really is. Fastlane is always a throwaway show anyway. We always say that this is... So I don't care who wins, because it's going to happen again. Because the next match is Nia and Shayna against Bianca and Sasha for the tag titles. This is going to set up probably 2 feuds for WrestleMania, essentially.
I am going with Nia Jax and Baszler, and Bianca is... It's been too nicey, feely, smiley. I think Bianca Owen Hart's Sasha after the match by Owen when he turned on Brett.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. I think the champions defend. I'm curious, Mark, what your other feud... Obviously, you meant Sasha and Bianca will
Explode.
get into it. Right, but what's the other feud you think potentially comes out of this?
I think Nia and Shayna. I actually am going to go the other way. I think that essentially, maybe tonight Sasha and Bianca win, but they then have to defend the titles within the next week or so, and then they lose them to, I don't know, the Riot Squad, Bear Country, somebody they're going to lose them to. But the seed's already there with Sasha and Bianca. The seed's there with Nia and Baszler. They lose the titles. Finally, Nia and Baszler can go at each other for WrestleMania. There's 2 feuds coming out of this. And I don't mean it has to have to be 2 night, but it's going to happen before WrestleMania. Because So again, a match that doesn't... I don't mean to say it like this because I love all 4. It only is continuing 2 storylines. Whoever has the titles tonight or tomorrow is not going to have them at WrestleMania.
And to your point, this is such a filler pay-per-view in February or March.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Roman against Daniel Bryan. I spoiled mine. I would love to see Daniel and Edge at WrestleMania and let Roman take on Jay for screwing him over, maybe during the match because he's sick and tired of him or something. But it's Roman. Going into WrestleMania, Roman's going to have the title.
That would make sense, everything you just said. You now set up 2 matches, a new WrestleMania main event, and then Roman against Uso. But that's not what's going to happen. Roman retains.
Mickey agrees with you.
I'm going to go a little bit different way. I think Daniel Bryan is going to win, but what it's eventually setting up for safety reasons for Edge is a triple threat match at WrestleMania for the title, Reigns, Edge, and Bryan.
Okay. So we're all
because they'll have Bryan in there. It can take a bit more punishment than Edge. You know, it's going to be, unfortunately, when Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and Chris Benoit, they put Michaels in there, so there could be bit different of a story going in. I think that's where they're going with this.
And maybe that's a better, that's a nice twist as well. So, all right. John's got his collar and elbow wrestling shirt on. As I said earlier, I got my sweatpants.
No, I don't.
Chad has a camouflage shirt on. I have my hugger shirt on and my old school collar and elbow shirt that's all bent and stretched. And it's not bent, I guess, because shirts can't bend, right?
Yeah, not really.
I'm an idiot. Nonetheless, guys, check out collarandelbow.com. They got great hats, hoodies, tees, sweatpants, shorts, stickers, vests, jackets, and the new spring line should be coming out real soon, as you are getting some leaked on the old Facebook. Couple new shirts are out there already. I can't remember exactly which one it is. I said it was pretty cool, and I hope Al remembers because I sent him my list, but you know what it is. We have a promo code, Chad. What is it?
Can Crushers. Capital C in Can, capital C in Crushers.
John, how much do you save when you use that?
You will save 10% off of your order.
And when we come back, we'll be talking about AEW for the last 2 weeks, who's put on a hell of a pay-per-view, and I'm calling it now. My match of the year happened last Wednesday.
Wrestling. A love and a passion we all share. I've started a wrestling brand. The wrestling brand. A brand founded on the aspects of wrestling. Two entities working together to create a product that connect emotionally for people everywhere. Collar and Elbow is the brand. Passion and love for wrestling is the drive. I am Al Snow, and this is Collar and Elbow, the wrestling brand.
Hey guys, Megan Nelson from Pittsburgh here. When I'm at an international wrestling cartel show and I like to get into some mayhem, you bet I'm going to be finding the Can Crusher guys to get into mayhem with. So many great memories and always such a good time. If you can't make it to an IWC show with Can Crushers, be sure to check out their podcast for the best updates and thoughts of that show. So with that, get ready for your next Can Crusher segment in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back, Can Crushers listeners. It is I, the English professor, joined by Chad the Glorious Guru and our host, Mark the Mark Martinez. And we just heard from Megan Nelson, an IWC fan and faithful Can Crushers listener, and a good friend of ours. And if you, listeners, would like to be immortalized in the annals of Can Crushers lore, all you have to do is visit our Anchor account, which is what, Mark?
Anchor.fm/Can Crushers 69.
And you can cut us a little promo, which would be awesome of you to do.
And I'd like to say thanks because I did not give Chad his props in the intro of calling him the Glorious Guru. But nonetheless.
Oh, yeah, you're welcome. That's what I'm here for.
You fuckers always forget me.
No, we did forget you.
This week?
Well, I would, things were heated.
AEW.
Oh, you think things are heated now, motherfucker.
But it's a positive show, right? It's positive. Have you guys tried the Pepsi Mango that just came out? It's unbelievable.
I didn't even know about it.
Yeah, well, that's why it just came out. Nice. You're not up and up on the soda beverages because you love the old Dr. Pepper with cream soda.
It's just good. I mean, I wouldn't drink it all the time.
No, not all the time.
But when I come down here, it's good. Might get some. I had to throw some
refreshing. I want to mix both of these, by the way, when we do a Saturday night show. Guys pulling down the curtain again. Either one of these with the Maker's Mark would be fantastic, I think.
Have you guys seen the new Doritos? The new 3D Doritos. You remember fucking what Bugles used to look like?
Yep.
They have those in Doritos flavors now.
All Dorito flavors?
I have seen just the Cool Ranch and the regular nacho cheese. Guys, got to try them. I'm a fan. And I'm not an overly huge Dorito fan, but these things have a different taste, a really good taste to them.
They don't have this. Do they have the sweat sock smell of the Cool Ranch? Well, Cool Ranch, if you
no, it's a bit more spicier.
If you smell them, they are not the best. They're pungent. I'll put it that way. I don't know what they're doing.
Well, it's what the hell is he doing?
I'm eating the carpet.
That's all right. A little fiber won't hurt him.
Don't lick the tattoo.
That wasn't me, by the way.
Yeah, you know how Cool Ranch, to get back off of this, when you open the bag and you do the, because we all love smelling potato chips, they have a funk. They're a great taste, but they have a funk to them. And it's,
Okay.
All right.
That just made me lose my appetite for them.
Good.
I love poppable potato chips. And I love Bugles, and I adore Doritos. If you're telling me Doritos are like in a poppable Bugle type
you gotta try them. Gotta try them. I'm
like sure I could crush a bag of those.
Oh, easily.
I still like Cracker Jacks. Not having anything to do with potato chips. Cracker Jacks just popped into my head, and I think I need to go to the store today. Yeah, guys, if you want to be on like Megan Nelson, send it over to our Anchor account, and that's awesome. I hope to get more people to come on, and you'll hear Megan more. AEW. So, 2 weeks ago they had their pay-per-view. This week they had their St. Patrick's Slam. Again, we'll just throw it out there to bring up things that we want to talk about since my shower shit the bed last week, and we'll get back to our normal schedule where we actually dive into matches and everything. But run the gamut. Chad's biting at the bit, so let's give him AEW.
I went first last time. Let Chad go first this time.
Okay. I go back all the way to the pay-per-view. I'm gonna shit right on the KO Moxley fucking limp dick fireworks match that they had.
Yeah,
I what the hell? What? I mean, seriously.
Angle or not, that was
ruined that. It was a deliverable pay-per-view. It was a good but not great pay-per-view. That ending like that totally fucking ruined it.
I was not a fan of that. I mean, I really don't know if it was really a work or if there weren't wires connected or I didn't dive into it long enough. The one I actually feel the worst for is Eddie Kingston out of all of it. Because was he made to look like a fool in this?
And they tried to play that off then Wednesday night with Eddie and Moxley both saying, yeah, they got us. We thought it was going to explode. And then they blamed Impact or something because they're a crappy organization. Yeah. So they played it off, which, to their credit, Mark, you're sitting here wondering now, well, maybe it was supposed to do that. You just don't know. And what does Al Snow always say? It's about making them guess what's real.
I have no doubts that it was a
farce.
It was a fuck up. It was a fuck up because you have, right off the bat, you have Moxley. Let's even back up. You had Tony Khan that night tweeting out and slamming it almost immediately. You have Omega slamming it, and when does Omega slam his own work? Kingston, Moxley, you have everybody just slamming it, and it was like, it was damage control. I do not think it was part of the plan. I think they were supposed to do, a big show, Brock Lesnar ring crashing in type deal, and shit didn't go off. It's just way too much damage control for a storyline.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah. I agree with both of you. I do. As we're on the pay-per-view, anything else that stood out for you on the pay-per-view? Is there a match that you're like, man, I really enjoyed?
I'm trying to remember what matches were on.
All right, you had the Casino Tag Team Battle Royal. You had Al Snow was in the house.
Forgettable.
What?
Nothing.
Oh, she did against Ryu. Orange and Chuck against Miro and Kip. The big money match of Page and Hardy. The ladder match where Ethan Page comes out, which I'm pumped about. I've always been an Ethan Page fan. We saw him at WrestleCade a couple years ago. Dude worked every show except the all-women show. And he really did put in work there. Did some IWC shows. I'm a huge Ethan Page fan. I'm glad he's there. Christian's All Elite. That was a big surprise. The street fight that was cinematic between Sting and Darby and Starks and Cage, and then the barbed wire death match. So that's pay-per-view if you want to.
Nothing overly stuck out. The only thing I'll say, like the women's match was.
Oh, and the buy-in was Britt and Reba, but Reba was hurt, so Maki Ito against Rosa and Riho.
Okay, the women's match on the actual pay-per-view, I just thought was clunky. I expected it to be a little bit more tight than it was. The match with women's on the pre-show, what the fuck was that? That girl comes out and I didn't think they could get smaller than Riho. And then this girl comes out. And then I'm like, why have I heard, what's his name? What's his name with this girl? And this is a Joshi Princess apartment wrestling fucking Grand Sumo champion or whatever the fuck she is.
When you say sumo, it always makes me think of Yokozuna or, people big. And I know it means, I don't know.
I mean, I'm picking
no,
on it.
I know.
I'm
just like,
oh my God.
balls.
I was like, who the hell? This is a surprise. Well, I mean, this is the big backup is to introduce somebody that weighs less than Riho, and it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I was hoping Britt was going to bring somebody else.
Anybody, anybody, somebody from the fucking division. I would have rather seen.
Layla Hirsch would have fit into this perfectly.
Serena Deeb. Bring her. I'm just saying anybody but this. And this ties in, are we allowed to discuss the AEW shows or are we just stuck on the pay-per-view?
Yeah, no, in general, AEW.
So when they bring whatever
Maki
Ito's name, when they bring her out for the next show, and she's doing her song and fucking dance,
literally,
for half of the match, and then your world champion goes up to her, and she fucking head with the most insincere shots I've ever seen with any object. I was like, if they make her a part of AEW,
she's going back to Japan.
I will invoke the this is fucking stupid rule and fast forward through matches. Thankfully, she is going back. She's not staying.
John?
I'll echo a little bit of what Chad said, but I'll share just a little story first about my youth, my childhood.
Oh, God.
When I was living in Italy, I'll tell you what was huge.
You want to order
Japanese women's wrestling. Japanese women's wrestling. Hey. WWF was on TV, but it was a joke. No one took it seriously. My cousins didn't watch it. I'll be honest, I watched Japanese women's wrestling with my aunt. She enjoyed it. My dad's youngest sister. When they went for a vertical suplex or the body slam out of the suplex position that Mark hates so damn much, like they grabbed that front face lock, and when they took the opponent's arm, they cinched it around their own neck, and the slam or the suplex was physical. The strikes were hard, and I know you can't go back to the roads you walked when you were a child and expect them to be exactly the same, unless you live in Ridgeway, Pennsylvania. But anyway, things change. Things change, and I get it. But when I think of Japanese women's wrestling, that's what I remember. And now you give me a match where this woman sings and dances for 5 minutes before she even gets to the ring. It's not like the Honky Tonk Man or Jeff Jarrett on the way to the ring. She's put on a concert. And one of her opponents pantomimes a tug of war. I didn't know what the hell was going on. It was idiotic. And not just because she's our homegirl. Credit to Britt. She tried to make it work. She gave us every indication, like, yeah, this is exactly who I wanted. Sorry, not fooled. And yeah, she's going back to Japan. I don't know if there's a language barrier, but did you guys see her tweet? AEW, fuck you? Like,
no.
Maybe she doesn't know what that means. Thank you to all the fans and et cetera, AEW. Yeah, and not just, she spelled it out. Yeah.
You see her tweet from a couple of weeks ago against somebody that we're not mentioning, where she called herself the queen of shit and piss.
What? No, but I don't follow everybody. And
no, I don't follow it either. But it was something that trended and then come up. She called herself, when she's in trying to get in a battle with said person, she calls herself the king of, or the queen of shit and piss Yoshi princess. That ain't a fucking language barrier. That's like no fucking language.
When she came out on the buy-in, I texted John right off the bat, and I was irate. She was doing her concert, and like her tag team partner walked past her. Or no, Britt was already in the ring. But like people just walked past her, and she's still singing. A bell has already rang. Britt's getting beat up, and this is not. The translation of wrestling from there to here just is not working.
Yeah, let's spend a minute or two on this, because I think this is important. I think AEW can be great. I thought the pay-per-view was fine. The tag team title match with Jericho and MJF against the Bucks was good. I thought that death, destruction, fire, and barbed wire match was good until the dud at the end. I thought it was a fine pay-per-view. I think AEW sometimes lacks identity. You can't have this kind of foolishness with someone like Jim Ross calling it. It doesn't work. I don't believe him. I think he's embarrassed to be there, if you want my honest gut truth. He's laughing along, but he has got to be thinking, what have I gotten myself into?
And he's not going to break his contract because he's a stand-up guy. And just say, guys, I'm done.
Yeah.
But when his contract's done, I personally don't think you're going to see him come back. He also didn't have his voice during this pay-per-view. So it was a lot of Excalibur calling jumps off the top rope, whatever the hell he calls them.
Right. So I think there's an identity crisis. It doesn't mean every match has to be the same. But you have some traditionalists, at least on the commentary team, and then you have like what we saw last Wednesday. And I want to mention this. I thought this Wednesday was much, much better. I thought last Wednesday I got upset. I was ready to quit wrestling entirely between WWE and AEW, with the exception of NXT. I think it's always a great show. But you have one of the Bucks against one of the Lucha Brothers. And you walk the ropes once and throw a kick. And you walk the ropes twice and throw a kick. And you walk the ropes 3 times. I'm not making this up. Go back and watch that. How many times do you need to walk the ropes? It's just not believable anymore. And the last thing I'll mention about the week before was I was so looking forward to the TNT title match. I walked out before it even started. I walked out because the guys were looking at each other. Darby and what's his name from one of the former tag team champions that he wrestled last week.
Scorpio Sky,
thank you. They're looking at each other, ready to lock up, and the fans were already like, oh. I was nauseous by that point. I said, Sylvan, to my son, tell me when this is over. And he was like, Dad, I think something's going on with Jericho and MJF. You want to come see this? So I came down. I didn't watch that match. I bet it was okay. I couldn't take the fans anymore. There's nothing they can do about that. But the fans are too much with that.
I digress. Yes, there is, because the fans that you're hearing doing that are the independent stars on the outside.
Yeah.
Because the marks, as we are, I think, so far away in the stadium seating that you really don't hear them. I think there's mics on the outside picking up the whoa thing.
No, they don't want. When they're in the big arenas and stuff like that, they can't. How can I say it? They can only control so very little what audio.
Right.
Now, when you have the people that are either working for you or want to work for you around there, they're going to give them the reactions that they want.
Right.
So that's where I think the issue is with people being around there. Nice visual, but it's on the same spectrum as WWE pumping in bullshit reactions.
Yeah.
This is just as bad. There's one thing I want to bring up about the shows. Omega and the Good Brothers and the segment with Eddie Kingston. Omega and Don Callis. Omega say no. Oh, Don, 69 me, cover me, it's going to blow up. That motherfucker should have been fired right fucking there. If not fired, he should have been suspended, and he should have been stripped of the title. If it was anybody else that did some shit like that, they would. Titus O'Neil grabs Vince by the arm. He gets suspended for 30 days and he's on the shit list. Dusty Rhodes points a finger at Stephanie McMahon. He gets taken off of TV. That shit right there, that is just another reason why I don't fucking like Omega.
So this was AEW's kind of first attempt in a cinematic match. What did you guys actually think about it? I thought it told a good story. I mean, there were some things that you saw that there was 3 or 4 takes. And this is where I'll give WWE the editing purpose, because how long was this shot ahead of time? 2 weeks? Even you can edit something in a couple hours anymore. You really can. You saw the edits, which it made it a little bit clunky for me. Like WWE, we're gonna go back to the graveyard one, seamless. Yeah. Seamless. Some of the other ones not so much, but I put this one in the graveyard match as their first one, so they put them head to head. If AEW lost on that, I think
the editing. If you're going to compare them head to head, yeah, they got killed.
Yeah,
with the editing, and I'm going to even throw up something not the cinematic thing, but that they did. If you remember back when Karrion Kross was challenging Keith Lee for the NXT title, and Keith Lee opened up the contract thing and the fire shot out at him. That was obviously, a 4 to 6 segment.
Right.
I don't want to say mashed, but edited thing that fucking come off. Holy shit, that looked really good. Then you go to the Sting Darby one, when Darby went off of, 2 stories up, and they show him hitting a fucking crash pad with nobody on it.
Yeah.
Show him coming down. Okay, there's your clip. There's one clip. And then have one of the fucking guys laying there and him with his elbow on the guy. Edit out the fucking crash pad. That that's where it was choppy. It was like you said, clunky.
So that cinematic match then brings us to this week's show, which was worlds better in terms of stories and in terms of matches. You get Brian Cage, who was in this cinematic match you guys were discussing, taking the microphone away from Taz and telling Sting, hey, you can fight and I have a lot of respect for you. And that threw off the whole team. I thought that was a great segment.
That was fucking awesome.
Yeah, I'm shocked that he's the one that is going to leave Team Taz. I really am. I don't know. I thought maybe it was going to be Hook when him and Dustin or Cody had a thing or something. I thought Hook's going to turn on his dad or something like that. I didn't think Brian Cage was going to be. It's there, guys. Am I the one that thinks Cage is leaving by myself? Or
no, I absolutely agree. I think it was.
Go ahead.
I think it was the right call. I think Hook, too young, too new to make that kind of an impact. Although it would be an interesting story. Ricky Starks is the smallest guy there, and so I think you need the dynamic with the smaller, quicker guy and then the bigger, stronger guy. So if it wasn't going to be Brian Cage, what's the other huge dude's name?
Hobbs.
Yeah, Powerhouse. Yeah. One or the other would make perfect sense.
And we haven't seen the FTW title in a while. Is that already thrown away?
Probably.
I think Cage was one that made sense. John, everything you said, and I wanted to throw this. Cage has kind of been. There's a storyline developing. Taz throwing in the towel, costing him the match. Cage being shit on right off the bat by the wrestling community. Taz handed him the FTW title a fucking week after he got beat.
Yeah.
He got beat. So I think he's one that needs more of an image overhaul, and I think there's more of a storyline to be used with him than anybody else. They haven't developed Taz's son enough yet. He's just been there. He's a rookie. Starks is kind of like the fucking arrogant attitude that you want. He's like the Tully Blanchard of the Four Horsemen to that group. But I
think Hobbs is too young as well.
Yeah, and he's just not polished. He's not you can't get behind him like you could an Apollo Crews type thing.
Yeah. We've seen this for months. MJF turns, and now the Pinnacle is formed. Chad, your boys are there, FTR. Our homeboy is there, Wardlow. What happens to the Inner Circle now? Because, no disrespect, Santana and Ortiz are the best workers in that group right now. Jericho's a little bit...
Jericho's underrated.
I got to put Guevara on top.
Is Sammy there?
Yeah.
Is he going to be there?
Yeah, he stood right by him.
Okay.
And with Jericho, and Jericho said, you don't think we've fucking been talking, and blah, blah. I got to put, I mean...
All right, then I agree with you guys. Sammy, yeah.
Yeah, those two can work. Sammy, I think, is the best. Jericho's the veteran. I think what this is doing is this is setting up a match or two, some kind of, fucking brawl, bunkhouse, hopefully not another stadium stampede shit.
I think we're actually going to get that War Games thing that they talked about last year at this time before
something like that. Eventually, it's going to be MJF going after the world title. I think FTR is going to be the ones that take the tag titles back. And if they push it the right way, why can't you just have Wardlow fucking destroy Darby Allin for the TNT title and put all the titles on that group?
I'm all right with that. One thing we didn't talk about, and we need to, the Shaq and Jade. We talked about the match. Jade now by herself. This week was against Danny Jordan, and I think they booked her perfectly. She's green, guys. Let's not throw any punches. She's green, but if they're gonna make her look like a monster, this was perfect for her. 2-3 second match. See you later. Go back to the training room. They could build something out of her. I kind of see where they're going with her, and I like it.
I think she's great. I really do. I loved her match Wednesday night. She wrestled an old school powerhouse Razor Ramon style match. I'll go back to this every time. Mr. Perfect told Razor Ramon, you don't have to do 20 moves. Pick 5, pick 6, whatever. Do one, stand over your opponent. Do another one, stand over your opponent. That's exactly what she did. And she was brilliant.
She is a monster along the lines of Awesome Kong. For females, that is how they need to develop her. But she is a more polished monster, I guess is a way to put it. She's not just a big girl that overwhelms people. She's somebody that's sculpted, and it's a different monster. It's like Frankenstein 2.0.
She reminds me a lot of Beth Phoenix. That she's muscular, she's tall, she's got that look. That I think that's kind of the character. Well, maybe not a character, but the storyline that can go with her.
Camille,
another one. Yeah. So.
Yeah. One other thing I want to mention about Jade. She's a good looking lady. And this is, you guys are going to be the first to hear this. I haven't told anybody else this. I think I'm breaking up with Allison Kay to go with Jade.
What?
Yeah. I haven't even told Allison Kay yet. I haven't even told my wife yet.
Oh, that's good. Well, now that we're speaking about women, hands down my match of the year is going to be, and their first match this year that was on, I don't remember when, Thunder Rosa and Britt was already in the mentions of being match of the year. I have tooted my horn in the horn of Thunder Rosa for about 2 years now. Prior to NWA coming back, and we loved her there. Her coming over to AEW. Her and Britt have a chemistry like none other. I thought this match was amazing. I want John to, when it's his turn, tell everybody what you tweeted about our middle school days, what you did to me.
Texted you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You texted me. And I do wish Britt would have won, but I don't think she needed to win. I think in the loss, she got more in this match, being the harder core one during this match. I think nothing that Thunder wasn't harder, but Britt had that stone cold moment where the blood was just dripping over her face, and her new shirt is her blood dripping over the face. I loved everything about this. If you didn't watch it, God damn it, go back and watch it. We've seen her when she was doing arm bars and winning a match like that. No disrespect, Britt. But now we see her being the star that she deservedly is. Chad?
She's gone, in my eyes, from the interview girl that Ric Flair was trying to get to go back to his dressing room in IWC.
Yep.
To, and not that she's not, and I'm not being disrespectful when I'm saying this, to eye candy in the ring, to getting a bit better, breaking away. And I'll say this, and I love her. I absolutely love her. She failed miserably as a babyface in AEW.
I agree.
She has found her groove as a borderline psychotic bitch.
I was going to say psychopath.
In AEW. I was at first with her and Thunder Rosa. I'm like, I thought it was a step down for Thunder Rosa, but Britt, something clicked in her. Something snapped in her. Don't know what the hell it was. And now she's up there to where she's having, it's more than arm drags. It's more than the cute whips into the ropes. She just, I've said it before, I'll say it again. She's having so much fucking fun in her work. Shows it.
I almost wonder.
It is the time, and I'll say this, there is no better time to put the title on her than to do it now.
I almost wonder, and this is a joke, if Britt was just fooling us and being nice to us at IWC, if she in real life is a bitch. Because this is real. This is if it's a, air quotes, part, wow. She's amazing.
They say that the person who can do both sides is the most complete wrestler.
Yep.
If you can do, the good guy and the bad guy and everything. Anybody can be a good guy. Anybody can be a good guy. That fat bastard Jock Sampson was a good guy at one point. Anybody can be a good guy. Not everybody can be a good heel.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything you guys said. This match was awesome. This is her best match of her career. Probably Rose's best match. Not that we've literally seen, I wouldn't say every, but a good portion of Britt's matches, with her being a local wrestler and now being on TV every week. We've seen a lot of her matches. This was her best work. I think it was Thunder Rosa's best match. It was physical. If we're looking for something to point to that came out in Britt, I'm going to go ahead and say it was her Western Pennsylvania roots. Like, she fought like a punksy girl, and then they made an appointment to meet in front of the fire hall and settle this. And they punched the shit out of each other. And it was superb. What I texted to Mark was there was a point where she pushed Thunder Rosa down the steps, and Thunder Rosa, kept her footing. And it just was like, I don't know, we were in the bleachers one time, and Mark was walking past me, and I just decided, I pushed him in his lower back. I didn't think anything would happen, but thank God. He stayed on his feet, but he, bounced down the bleachers, but stayed on his feet, if that makes any sense. Had he not kept his footing, he'd have broken an ankle. Don't know why the hell I did that. But that's what came to mind when...
You're an asshole.
Yeah, that's what came to mind when she pushed her down the steps. What sealed this for me was at the end of the match, there was a little bit of emotion on Rosa's part. And I think Shivani had to sell it that she's crying, about had it with the crying. But she kept it together. I think she wanted to hug her and say good match, but she used that energy and turned it into whatever she said. Yeah, damn right, I kicked your ass. Now you'll know not to mess with me anymore. Or whatever she said, but she turned it into shit talk, which worked beautifully. I don't care if you're friends in real life. Make me believe that you just kicked her ass and now you're talking shit in her face. And it was beautiful, start to finish. It was perfect.
I've already put it on Facebook. I believe it was Thursday that there was a video out. Tony Khan put it on TikTok, and should he have? I don't know, but I posted it anyway. Standing ovation in the back from the locker room for these two gals. They did. They broke down. They were very emotional. They knew that they had it, and it was brought up on IWC last night a couple times that this was the match, and Soup and I were talking about it. It's going to be a hell of a hard thing for me to not pick this as match of the year, and we're in February. I'm telling you.
It's March. I thought it was February.
Oh, yeah.
It's actually March.
It is March. Yeah, I did have a birthday. I'm an idiot. Yeah, without a doubt. There's gonna have to be something, because you guys know how I am. I literally love both of them, and I've been tooting their horns for years that I didn't care who won. I was invested. This was one of the matches in so long that had me fully invested, that I didn't know if there was a train coming through the living room. The dogs probably shit all over the floors. My life was just on that match. I have to say, though, AEW needs to stop on big matches like this or anything doing their godforsaken take a commercial break. No, can we not get a match on any show across the board anymore that we have to go to commercial? All right, so it was a 20-minute match. You can run a 2-hour show and not take a 20-minute freaking commercial break. Stop already, because as much as it's still on in the box and box or picture in picture, it still takes away from it because you don't hear the story. Did you need the story in this one from Tony and JR and Excalibur? No, you didn't. But there's other ones that I wish they would just pay that price, whatever. And I'm speaking that I'm a gillionaire. Let's not have commercials for these big main events anymore. Please. Give me 6 commercials in the first hour compared to, I don't care what Lana and Naomi are doing. I don't. Give me a commercial over that. Stop your big match commercials.
Agreed. I don't know if we want to go to NXT, but the perfect segue would be that, speaking of match of the year...
We're going to go to NXT after we take a break.
Okay, Britt's other half had a match of the year candidate.
He did. And that's a good segue. So we'll take a break.
Thank you.
And we'll be back with NXT here in a moment.
What's up, everybody? This is Dean Fleming. Yo, we are here. Can Crushers, we love you, man. You're okay. Nah, I'm kidding. You guys are awesome. Hey, keep giving them a listen. Let's go.
And welcome back, Can Crusher Nation. It is I, the Glorious Guru, with John, the Professor, and this guy beside us. John, do you remember his name? I can't remember.
Miggy.
Miggy.
That's it.
Yeah, Miggy. Oh, Mark. Yeah, we got Mark here, too. Mark the Mark.
As you heard, we're heading over to NXT. And it wasn't a sigh. It was just, we're heading over to NXT. John did the segue earlier. It was a sigh, actually, but whatever. It was no disrespect to NXT. John, start with NXT.
I thought NXT brought it just like it always does. One thing I want to mention from last week, because it's very important, I want to get your opinions, guys, on the NXT Women's Tag Team Championships, and then I'll give you my opinion on it.
I'm not happy about it. Yeah. Chad's got his eyes closed, just so you guys get the picture of where we kind of both are. This was supposed to be, the tag titles that are in the WWE were supposed to be across the board. To add these in NXT kind of waters those down even more now, because, I don't know. I'm all right with them going to Dakota and Raquel for what they did. Yeah, cool. They won the Dusty Classic, and Regal made a great storyline for it. I did like that. I just don't like adding these. Unless they would have done Raquel and Dakota against Nia and Shayna, and then just instantly merge these because both of them are going to put the titles on the line. They have them for an hour and a half, and they lose them to Shotzi and Ember. And now Raquel's going a different way. Dakota's going to go a different way. They're not going to get a rematch. And I don't know how long even Ember and Shotzi are going to have them. Because I think these titles are just going to... It's going to be a
hot potato title.
Yeah.
This was one of the stupidest fucking things NXT has done. This rates down there. I'm not going to say up there. This rates down there with Beth Phoenix and her Austin Theory, Andre the Giant fucking outlook. They could have developed... the titles are watered down across it, across the WWE period. They had a story here. They could have developed it. Okay, you guys kind of got screwed over. We're pushing for a match. Then had Nia and Shayna come on, even by video, and say, you know what? We fucking beat you. If that's the best that you have to offer, we're not coming back. We're gonna go up here. We got better things to do than to beat you guys again. Then bring the titles in. Okay, whatever. They told the storyline great, and I was like, that's fucking cool. I like that. And then, I don't know, I think I went to the other show and come back and saw that they lost. And I was like, why?
Right.
Why did you fucking have them lose on the same show that you just, it's bad enough you awarded them titles. They didn't win it in the ring, but they're heels. So that's a good whatever.
Out. Yeah.
A good out. But you fucking have them lose to somebody that's gotten their ass kicked in every fucking match that they've been in since they got back to NXT, and somebody who's won a third of their matches in NXT. You totally destroy somebody that was and I hate to say this, main roster, main show, women's tag team. And now it's like, what the fuck? Who are they going to fucking have them go against? Who? Horrible booking.
Agreed. I had mixed emotions. Hated it for all the reasons you said, both of you guys. Also, I felt the door was open for a rematch against Nia and Shayna based on how the previous match ended with the wrong woman submitting. That's out the door. Obviously, like you said, Mark, they're sending Dakota and Raquel in different directions, which I don't get why. Why would you want to get rid of a team when you need teams? So for all those reasons, the only reason I kind of liked it a little bit, it's because Regal is so good at what he does, and NXT is so good at sprinkling in a little bit of old school. When they got to the back and all the women are clapping, it's like Hulk Hogan wins and Andre the Giant dumps champagne on him, or Hockey Talk Man wins and the Hart Foundation pick him up and Butch Reed high-fives him. All that sort of stuff. Like, you're trying to make these championships mean something. I still wanted to see the women's tag team title go to all the different brands. And I'm bummed that we're not going to get this rematch against Shayna and Nia that I thought would have been really good. Maybe even WrestleMania worthy.
I thought that's where it was going to take place. Yeah. But Raquel now, as of this Wednesday, signing a contract to take on Io at the next takeover, which is that WrestleMania week. There's wrestling legit across the board, Monday through the following June. So that's Tuesday, Wednesday is takeover. No, Wednesday, Thursday is takeover. Friday, Saturday or Saturday, Sunday is WrestleMania. I don't know. I don't know the schedule offhand yet embedded in my mind, but nonetheless, Raquel's going to take on Io at that takeover. I think she's the one that does take the title off of Io, though. And then Io comes up and makes a surprise at WrestleMania.
Yeah, and
those are also predictions later.
Yeah, that could feed to the breakup too. And Dakota, I think Dakota's the one who turns. I don't think Raquel's going to turn on her. I think Dakota turns on Raquel at some point. And then, of course, what stood out last week was the championship match: Adam Cole versus Finn Balor. Those guys lock up. The bell rings, and it's a match of the year candidate.
Yep.
I love the crossover with Karrion Kross. You guys, Chad mentioned watered down championships, and you're right. Across the board, they don't mean what they used to. But when we go down that road, I think what happens is we get unfair comparisons, like the greatest of all time. Who is it? Ric Flair, Hulk Hogan. Well, why do we say that? Because they wrestled when people thought it was legitimate competition. Guys, I'm going to say the greatest of all time are wrestling right now. There are wrestlers today who are among the greatest of all time. The greatest of all time is wrestling right now, and he defended his championship last Wednesday night. I think Finn Balor is the absolute very best in-ring performer of all time. There was a point in the match where he was holding his jaw or like he stuck his finger in his mouth, and my wife legitimately thought he lost a tooth. And I said, Cheryl, he's been selling, whether he hurt his jaw for real or not in that match or the injury leading up to it, I said, he's been working this injured jaw for a while. She was fooled, and she said what's so brilliant is he worked it into the context of the match. Like, he's not overselling it because there are no fans, really. He's not overselling it for the guy in the 6,000th row. He's trying to hide it. He doesn't want to show Adam Cole where his pain is, so he turns away from Adam Cole to check his teeth. That's brilliant. That's such a deep understanding of this performance, and I think he's awesome. And I think his best work is still ahead of him.
This is another case, as far as Finn Balor is concerned, of Vince McMahon shitting on somebody because he had no fucking idea how to use them. And then Finn goes back down to NXT, wanted to go back down because he wasn't doing anything on the main roster besides getting fucking slaughtered by everybody and their mother, literally. The best in the business today, boy, you could debate between Balor and Cole.
Sure, yeah.
There's no, I don't think you could argue against them. I think there's just who can argue the most for them. And what I loved with Balor is after the match, he's standing there and he's got that look, he's got the blood trickling down, and he's looking at the camera and he's like, what took you so long?
And I didn't know who he was talking to for a minute.
And they turned around, and he turned around, and there's Karrion Kross. Now, going back to what we talked with the cinematic matches and the shooting of things and angles and that, you didn't know who the fuck he was talking to. They presented it so well. They shot it so well. What took you so long? And it's somebody that we bitched. Why the fuck ain't he right back in the picture? What is he doing going after Chimichanga and the fucking lightweight title or whatever the fuck it is? And now we're back to Karrion Kross and his extremely hot psycho girlfriend in their fucking promos. This is what we've wanted for how long has Kross been back?
Probably
2 months.
Well, since he got hurt and
since he's been back 2 to 3 months, they developed it right. They took the storyline with Finn Balor and Kyle O'Reilly. They took it right. I wish they would have given him and Cole a little bit more time. I wish they would have even waited till a takeover to put them in.
Well, I think you're going to get Cole and O'Reilly at takeover.
But I can see, Cole and O'Reilly, great. Absolutely love it. So I don't really have a problem with them not waiting to put Balor and Cole. But Kross and Balor is reminding me of what a couple of years ago, the potential that Aleister Black and who was the other guy that was getting hurt that was in there? I can't think. Ciampa matches. This is going to be brutal.
Yeah.
I think these matches are going to be, and I'm betting you guys are going to disagree with me. I think these matches are going to be on par with Balor's matches against Kyle O'Reilly.
No, I won't disagree with you.
Same.
TakeOver is going to blow WrestleMania out of the water.
It does. It does every year.
But I think even more so this year because of things that we're going to get between Braun and Shane being a headline freaking match.
Have you noticed what they've done the last at least 2 years, if not longer, maybe 3 years, with the takeover in WrestleMania?
I don't know where you're going.
They've separated them by a day or two, whereas before they were running them one on Saturday, one on Sunday. It has nothing to do with the pandemic. Absolutely nothing to do with it. What it has to do with is these guys on NXT are putting on a better show than 99% of SmackDown and Raw superstars.
Oh, yeah.
And Vince doesn't fucking like that. So they're going to move him. They're going to give it a day or two to, I don't want to say drop off the radar, but they're going to give it a day or two to simmer down. To me, it's like the space in between is like a come down match. It's like you have a really fucking hot match, and then you got to have your,
tweener, bathroom break, snacks match or something like that with, Charlotte Flair or something like that. There was the thing I was waiting for. What else? I like this Devlin guy coming back and taking on Santos. I like that they're going to get rid of, I think, one of the cruiserweight titles. Thank you. He's been locked up over in the UK and he's back. I think this is going to be a great storyline. Walter coming back. Him and Ciampa are going to...
That's going to be one...
The chop that Ciampa took, if we didn't hear it in Guam, I don't know. It was so loud. Unbelievably loud. It pierced my ears this Thursday when I watched it. I'm happy Walter's back, but how long is he going to stay? He makes Imperium that much better.
I think they're going to go with him as a singles. I don't think they're going to reform the band, so to speak. I think they need to go with him for a singles run.
Does he spell his name in all caps?
Yes.
Why? I don't understand that.
Because he's a big guy.
Because he can do what the fuck he wants.
Yeah.
I'm not arguing with him.
He's the only one in wrestling taller than Austin Theory right now.
Yeah. On that note, I agree. I think it's going to be a good program. It's not what excites me the most about NXT, to be honest with you. Austin Theory's match against Dexter Lumis, I thought was really good. Here's the only problem I saw with this match and what I see in wrestling today, in general. They either don't tell a story and just do all the crazy stuff, or they try to tell too many stories. So, there was a finish in this match, and it should have been the finish, and it wasn't. Lumis helps Theory up. They look at each other for a second, and Theory is great. He can deliver anything that's given to him. And he gets excited, and he hugs him, and I knew you really loved me, and we were friends, and Johnny was wrong about you, and I love you. And then he gets choked out. That should have ended the match. Instead, he comes back, and he's like, no, Johnny was right about you. You're mean and you're bad. And then he gets choked out. It just seems like somebody had two ideas, and they wanted to get them both in. I don't know. Have two matches. Have a rematch. Today's story is Johnny Gargano was wrong about you. You really are my friend. And then he gets choked out. Next week, tell the story of Johnny Gargano was right about you.
Beat his ass again.
Yeah, and now he's more ferocious and fierce this time, but he still gets choked out in the end. There were two matches there, and they smashed them together, and I don't know why.
It's like you go to Dairy Queen and you get a chocolate fudge brownie cookie fucking peanut butter something or another. You have 5 layers of fucking chocolate. No, 2 layers it's good. It's just too,
no clue where you were going.
It's just too fucking much. It made no sense to throw both of those angles in at the same time. Have him choke him out. Well, have him choke him out, then have him confront him in a fucking interview next week. I was wrong. You were
A bastard.
You were a bastard. Have him get choked out again. Then you could even have a third segment. Now it's like,
okay,
it's
over.
It's like it was like they were in fucking high school. Oh, you're a good guy. Oh, no, you're a bad guy. Oh, no, you're a good guy. Oh, no, you're a bad guy. What the fuck? There was more flips in that than there was the Big Show turning good or fucking bad.
Last thing I want to touch on NXT, and then I'll give you guys another minute. Man, Eli Drake is not Eli Drake anymore.
No, he's not.
He is. It just doesn't go for me. It doesn't sound right. He is watered down from NWA or any place that we've seen him. I'm going to be disappointed in L.A. Shyamalan.
Agreed.
Yep, same here.
Yeah.
It's just not as fun.
No.
The last thing I want to mention about NXT is I love William Regal. I do. He's not in a good mood, but he never denies the press. He just had to break up a fight and the cops were called, and that was like a scene outside of Jordan's with O'Reilly in the back, like, yeah, whatever he was yelling at. You couldn't quite make it out, but it worked beautifully. And I love that the cops are understanding. Like, look, all right, we won't bring these guys in, but you have to have a match so that this shit doesn't happen anymore.
Right, because they're invested.
Yeah. We don't want this going on in our town. So figure it out or we're coming back. So that's great. But Regal wasn't in the mood. He needed to get back inside. But he was stopped. He answered the questions, and then he went inside. He's always available. That's what I like about him.
Anything else on NXT?
Regal's the consummate professional, and if he would have come at a different, in his prime, at a different time, he would have been a world champion.
Yeah.
He just came through kind of at the wrong time. He was appreciated to those who would, appreciate the business, but he has his gentlemanly, side of him, and then he has his side where he's so frustrated, but he doesn't lose his shit.
He should sometimes.
Where he should sometimes.
10 years earlier or 10 years later, you're absolutely right, Chad. But he wrestled in a time when not everybody won championships. But I think, had he wrestled in like Flair's heyday, the 70s and 80s, he would have been a world champion. Or later when everybody was winning championships. Sorry.
I will say the one thing with his emotions, a time that I remember when he couldn't keep but laughing was back in WCW when he and Bobby Eaton formed the Blue Bloods, and to have Bobby Eaton up there dressed like a fucking British royalty or whatever. You can see, if you ever see the stuff on the network or whatever, or Peacock, you can see him all the time just trying not to bust out laughing in the background with Bobby Eaton dressed like that.
That's a great segue that we just, we kind of loved on William Regal, but let's transition over to how we normally do it, John.
So this is Love 'Em While We Have 'Em. In this segment, we try to appreciate someone who is still here with us. And we're a positive show, so that's why we do this.
Especially today.
So this week, it's my turn. And I actually mentioned this guy near the top of the show on Everybody Hates Chris, the Masked Superstar, also known as Demolition Axe, also known as the Super Machine.
Ooh.
Or his given name, Bill Eadie.
Yep.
Yes.
You want to go first?
You want to go first?
I'll go first. We actually had interaction with him down at WrestleCade. We sat down, got his autograph. He's like, "Where are you boys from?" And we're like, "Ridgeway, Pennsylvania." And
I know that.
Yeah, of course, he knows where Ridgeway is. I've been there a couple times. He talked to us because where exactly, I'm going to butcher it. He's right down the road. Not right down the road, but, in Pennsylvania, especially up in this neck of the woods, everything is right down the road. But he's a Pennsylvania boy. Personality-wise, he gave us so much time just to sit and bullshit with him.
Brownsville, PA.
Which is where the next IWC show is on April 24th at the Drive-In. Haha! Good. That's even a better segue. So Bill was just awesome. As a wrestler, Masked Superstar matches, I've seen a few, but I remember them mostly as Demolition. And that team was undeniably one of the hottest teams in the WWF at that time. You can say, yes, it was a ripoff of the Legion of Doom, which is John's favorite tag team. They did great work. They were two big guys that beat the snot out of you. I liked them better as heels with Fuji. Just great work. Just the big guy doing powerful moves. I don't know all the chaos that they'll never be in the Hall of Fame for the WWF or whatever, but I don't think that matters anymore to them. They've actually come out and said they don't really give two shits, but I think he's got a lot to give in wrestling too, because you hear that he does, a seminar here, a seminar there, that he talks to the youngsters and tells them about the business and stuff like that. So, yeah.
I remember him as the Masked Superstar, feuding with Tommy Rich, feuding with Paul Orndorff. He was the first guy I remember loading his mask, putting that, what we always thought was a big chunk of fucking lead in his mask, and it was nothing more than tape. And, it's so fucking obvious. It covers 3/4 of his forehead, but the referee can't see it. Shit. Mic skills. Incredible on the mic. Whether it was, and you can find Masked Superstar stuff to compare it to, from Masked Superstar to his time in Demolition. He took shots. Believable. He didn't overflop. He wasn't a fucking Shawn Michaels or Dolph Ziggler, too much reaction. He took the shit like it was solid potatoes, is way he was taking those shots.
Solid potatoes.
That's what they call
I
it.
know.
The shots in wrestling, the potatoes.
I might be getting hungry.
He just...
All right, go ahead.
We don't get our size with not being hungry.
Right.
But just his mic skills and just singles, tag teaming with green guys versus guys that were experienced. Again, moves in believable order. He was one of the ones that I first remember running around the ring when the opponent's getting ready to get a tag and jerking the fucking guy off of the ring so his partner in the ring can't get a fucking tag. He's one of the first ones I remember doing that.
Early memories of him include when he broke Eddie Gilbert's neck by giving him several neck breakers, including one on the floor. And Eddie Gilbert was on the floor for the rest of the show. Guys were coming to the ring, stepping over him, coming and going, and Eddie was just down on the floor. That was really the first vicious thing I remember, and that set up his feud with Bob Backlund, which made it believable. Like, if anybody's going to beat Bob Backlund, it's this guy. What can you say about Demolition? At one point, they held a record for the longest tag team championship reign, as well as they were tied with the Samoans for the most tag team championships. Very believable as a team. And I'll mention the Machines. It was corny, but it was fun. And Bobby Heenan called them both out. How many Japanese guys do you know have such a thick French accent? And he would reference, because we all knew, the Masked Superstar's outfit was the same as the Machine, slightly different mask.
What?
Yeah, I hate to break it to you. And Bobby Heenan would say something like, this guy thinks he's a real superstar or something like that. But Heenan would reference who he was before that. committed to his beliefs. You know, when Vince came out and said we're entertainment, so he didn't have to pay athletic commissions, Bill Eadie spoke up against that and still speaks up against it. Personally, my opinion, I think that's the right move. You can save money, and why pay these guys? But Eadie was a protector of the business and didn't think that was the right thing to do. On a somewhat related note, for years, people tried to take this guy's mask off and couldn't do it. I just came across a picture. He teamed up with #1 Paul Jones. This was in North Carolina, against Superfly and Ray the Crippler Stevens. And after the match, I don't know if he had a brain fart or what, he just took his mask off.
Really?
Yeah. He's standing there in the cage, and he took his mask off.
Wow. Are you trying to find it?
No, I have it. I'm sending it. Chad, you have your phone on you?
Yes, sir.
Here it comes.
Are we playing a clip all of a sudden?
No. Just a picture of it so you guys can see it.
Oh,
I mean, the listeners can't see it, but
you can see that I'm working on my phone doing podcast stuff. So thank you for not sending it to me.
Yeah, that's what I figured. So, yeah, do you guys see that?
No,
just took his mask off.
Nice.
That's crazy. I wonder what the hell that was about. But anyway,
maybe it was hot in here. I don't know.
Yeah, the Greensboro Coliseum, I'm sure, got hot back in the day. Anyway, great worker. And the differences between Masked Superstar and Demolition, nobody knew back in the day. Certainly we as kids didn't know. They were the same guy. That speaks to his credit.
I didn't know who any of the machines were. None of them.
Really?
None of them.
Wasn't the real tall one Austin Theory's dad?
Yeah. I think so. And then the giant machine, I still no clue. And Hogan machine.
Piper machine.
Yeah.
George the Animal machine. The big machine was honestly a mystery. Turns out that was Blackjack Mulligan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually just learned that today then.
Yeah.
So, all right. So,
Bill Eadie. Cheers to being here.
Cheers to being here. Brief, but lots of news in the wrestling business. First and foremost, I want to personally say, and it's echoing these two guys as well. Respects to Becky Lynch, as her father passed away 2 weeks ago when we had our hiatus. Learned of another passing prior to recording this show. Randy Orton's uncle, Cowboy Bob Orton's brother. Bobby? Barry O. And was there another one? I believe, I know I have this written down. I should just pay attention. Sam Adonis and Corey Graves lost their grandfather as well.
Aw, that's sad.
So, yeah. Oh, nope, one more. Damn it. And I don't mean this like that. Shark Boy lost his stepfather, if you guys remember Shark Boy. So, all passings do related in wrestling, and we want to send our condolences along to Shark Boy, Sam Adonis, Corey Graves, Becky Lynch, and the Orton family. So,
Barry O was intercontinental title material. Absolutely. Watch his stuff. Rumor has it he was primed to feud with Tito Santana or whoever would have had the belt. I don't know if we want to go down this road, but that didn't happen for reasons he claimed. So great worker. Had a certain pizzazz in the ring too. I mean, he was essentially, I hate to say this, he was a squash guy, but he had the colorful vests, and some of those guys were really good at creating characters for themselves when they weren't given very much. He was one of those guys for sure.
You know, one thing I've come to appreciate with, I hate to say it, unfortunately, seeing our wrestlers of yesteryear that we grew up on passing away is the importance of the undercard, the squash guys, the jobbers, whatever the hell you want to call them. because they just our big guys wouldn't be where they are, or wouldn't have gone where they did without those guys. You know, you can have your Four Horsemen against your Rock and Roll Express or Superpowers or Midnight Express, but at some token, you got to have either one of them, good guys or heels, developing their traits and taking advantage of somebody that is perceived to not be on their level. Whether it's a rookie, whether it's a bad, a jobber that's out of their league, the fucking, the Mulkeys in their dives, guys that were able to absorb the Road Warriors beating the shit out of them because they were so green. Just things like that. Yeah. Gotta appreciate the jobbers. They're just as important to the wrestling industry as anybody else.
Bobby Heenan said their job was to put over the other guy's finishing move. And that's a great point, because think about this. Paul Orndorff does the pile driver 6 weeks in a row on whatever, Rudy Diamond and S.T. Jones. But then when he does it to Hulk Hogan, you're like, holy shit, that puts guys away. We have a new champion if he goes for the pin. You know what I mean?
Well, we spoke to two, as both of them were okay with us using the word jobber, Barry Horowitz and Randy Hogan. They both said the same thing. They were wrestlers. Somebody had to take that L in the column, and they were doing their job.
Their part, yeah.
Their part.
Yeah.
So both of them were on TV more so than Hogan or Andre. You saw them more.
Yep.
To take with John's point, they made the guys' moves believable to where when they went against a big name guy, if the Rock and Roll Express hit the Midnight with a fucking double drop kick, unless somebody come in and interfered, they were getting a pin.
Right.
If, the Road Warriors hit the fucking clothesline, they were getting the pin.
Right.
And that's what the guys were. The one that I'll always think of, and I'll probably remember to the day I die, is Blackjack Mulligan on that show that used to be on at midnight, the Pittsburgh Wrestling that used to be on at midnight, popping the guys' fucking heads with the claw in the supposed, loaded glove. Popping their heads to where the fucking network was backing out, putting it in black and white, and putting a fucking X over it. I was legitimately, when he was doing this, I was like, that motherfucker's, he's going to hurt somebody. And then he challenges Bob Backlund. And I'm like, oh, fucking Mulligan gets that in, Backlund's fucked.
Done.
Sergeant Slaughter in the Cobra Clutch.
Yeah.
Doing that to, guys dislocating their shoulders doing it. He challenges Backlund. I was like, oh yeah, Bob's fucked. That's where they made it believable.
Go ahead.
One other piece of news, rumor has it, NXT is tired of taking a beating on Wednesday nights. They might do Tuesday nights.
Yeah. I think that's more than a rumor. I really do.
Yeah.
Couple other ones. Justin Plummer, you have to sue the WWE. Mania is back in business. Didn't Plummer have that last April or whatever the hell? No, it was like July. Yeah, stealing it right from the IWC tagline. Almost wants out. WWE's not going to let him. Aleister Black, where the hell has he been? A couple people just want out of the contracts. Guys, we have too much talent across the board. Do you think? And that's sad to say.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good thing, but holy moly, people like Andrade, sorry, he doesn't go by Almas, but Andrade and Aleister Black can't get on TV. Why?
I like Andrade, but especially Aleister Black. I mean, that guy is unreal. He's amazing athlete.
He's not getting on TV because of who his girlfriend is.
Well,
that's a given right
switch
there.
it the other way then. Why isn't Andrade? Because who's his fiance?
And she proposed. It was just a big thing that was shot down.
Do a couples segment.
To do a couples thing, and not that I'm not picking on John here. Not that I'm a Charlotte Flair fan by far, but why not bring him on in that? But Vince doesn't give a shit.
No.
He will pay those wrestlers, let them sit home or come out to do the fucking Bunny Express or whatever the hell the dancing dude was with all the people dressed up and whatever Adam Rose, whatever the fuck.
Rosebud.
He'll pay the guys to do that just to keep them away from another federation, because he's worried even guys like that, if they make Tony Khan $1, that's $1 out of Vince's fucking pocket.
But we'll pay you $250,000.
But we'll pay you. Jesus, years ago they did it. Fucking WCW did it with the Sheik,
the Iron Sheik. Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna sign you to a contract. Then we're gonna forget to not fucking cut that off and pay you $100,000 to sit home. Fucking
That's
do
awesome.
that.
Good for
do
him.
that for me.
Oh, very quickly.
Yeah.
NWA
is at 4:00 today.
Yeah.
Back at Attack. It's on Fight.
Two
$20
pay-per-views today. 2 pay-per-views.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Iron Sheik, my brother Tony did a 23andMe. All right, his wife got him one for his birthday. 83.8% Italian.
That is. Oh, okay.
4-point-something% Egyptian. 8.5% Iranian.
Your brother's Iranian.
So I am too.
Oh, that's right. You would think.
Brother to sister, I guess boys and girls could have different traces of DNA, but brothers would have the same DNA. So we could be related to the Iron Sheik.
So does that make John even more of a racist?
I mean,
no, even more of a racist for his Halloween costume that one year?
Here we go again. 2 pay-per-views today.
2 pay-per-view today. Yeah, Fastlane, we already did our predictions. That starts, who the hell knows, probably in 10 minutes. And NWA back at Attack. I'm excited to watch this. It'll be later this week. I'm not going to pull any punches. I don't know when the hell I'm going to watch it. We will go over it. Main event is Aldis against Aaron Stevens for the NWA title. And they're going to do something for the question mark. I'm excited about that.
Is he still the national champion? Is it like champion versus champion?
He is not.
No.
Trevor Murdoch is the national champion.
Oh, yeah. I think I knew that.
And the Pope has the TV title.
Yeah. I don't know who he's taking. And Rosa is taking on Camille.
Yep.
That's going to be awesome. That's going to be really good.
Jax
Dane
is on there.
Yeah.
He has a high-profile match. And this is one, y'all laugh, I don't give a shit. I'm looking forward to seeing the big dude from used to be in Brodus Clay.
Tyrus now.
Tyrus. I'm looking forward to seeing him coming back. He's been out of the eye for a little bit.
Another one coming back is the Master Lock. Chris, does he go by Chris Adonis now? Or?
It's Adonis, yeah.
Yeah. He was the Master Lock, Chris Masters. So he's back and he's got a match. So it looks like a pretty cool card. Again, it's available on Fight. I did put our promo code up, I think, on Friday on Facebook, or maybe even today. I don't know when the hell. There's so much shit scheduled for Facebook that I don't know when it goes up. There's a promo code there that if you order, you get a $10 credit, towards your next purchase or some shit like that. Look at it and you'll find it.
Oh, hey, on the NWA thing, happy birthday to Billy Corrigan. This past week, owner of the NWA. Thought he was older than he was. Turns out he's 62. Oh, I think it was.
All right.
I thought he was older than he was. But happy belated birthday to Billy Corrigan.
He's not as old as Al Snow.
No, yeah. I don't think they make a number that high as Al Snow.
Hey, boys, we got a lot more to do coming up. Not on this show, but let's tell everybody when, because they're going to be like, hey, where's your fantasy stuff? Well, when did we decide to put the fantasy stuff?
Well, 2 weeks ago, we decided we would give it its own show. We got some feedback from you, the listeners. A couple of you didn't enjoy it, and that's cool. You didn't like it at all. A couple of you really liked it and said, keep it on this show. Most of you said you like it and give it its own. If I'm remembering what you read, Mark,
right.
I think people agreed that it should have its own show. We crammed 2 weeks into this show, but we are going to run the WWF Fantasy League on its own thing, which is dropping when, Mark, on Fridays?
We're going to drop that on Fridays from here on out. So Sundays, you get our weekly wrap-up show and news and this, that, and our shenanigans. Wednesdays will be our spotlights, our interviews with people in the wrestling business, talent, this, that, and the other thing.
Has John listened to both of them?
I don't know.
Yeah, I listened to Ricky Morton. I told you I did.
Oh, yeah, he might have. I don't know. Oh. And then on Fridays will be our WWF fantasy booking shows. And if you can't find them, they're always available on our Facebook page. The WWF one is going to have our microphone logo. So it will be available on Anchor, Spotify, what the hell is the other one? Google Play, all those ones that you guys listen like that. But it's going to be its own entity, so you guys know the difference between the Spotlight and our weekly show and the WWF one. So, yeah. All right, we're long. We have probably 3 more hours of recording right now. So remember, John.
Just because you're trash, it doesn't mean you can't do great things.
It's called a garbage can, not garbage cannot.
2 weeks off, and he remembered it.